Hi, literarians. Welcome back to the Literary Lori YouTube channel. I'm Literary Lori, and if you love to read books or write books that center the lives of Black people and other people of color globally, then you are in the right place, because I love those things too. But this video is not about me. This video is part of my special series for Black Literary History Month. Yes, I celebrate Black Literary History Month in February instead of just Black History Month, because there are so many amazing Black writers born in the month of February. So every single day in February, yes, every single day, even Saturday and Sunday, I will be here on the YouTube, on this channel, sharing the life or the story of an amazing Black writer or author born in February, and also try to share some literary lessons that we can apply to our own writing lives from their lives. All right, so today is day 7. Born on this day, February 7th, is Angela Flournoy. Angela is still very much alive and very young, so this is going to be a short episode. Happy birthday, Angela. So Angela Flournoy grew up in Los Angeles. She was born in the mid-'80s. She is a millennial, but she now calls New York City home. She is a graduate of the Iowa Writers Workshop, and according to a recent podcast episode I heard of her, with her, she knew she wanted to be a writer since she was 6 years old. Yes, 6 years old. So this is a writer's writer. She is a serious writer. She said she was reading at 3, and by 6, she knew she wanted to be a writer. So, by the way, you should listen to that podcast. It's the Stacks podcast, and it's a recent episode with Angela Flournoy. I will leave the link in the description below. Anyway, so this woman knew what she wanted out of life. She knew she was going to be a novelist. And sure enough, in spring 2015, her first novel was released. It was called The Turner House, and it was released to critical acclaim and commercial success. And yes, she was only 30 years old when that book came out. The Turner House was a finalist for the National Book Award. It was named a New York Times Notable Book of the Year, and it was shortlisted for the Center of Fiction's first novel prize. So here's a quick summary of what the Turner House is about. This is from an article in the Paris Review. It said, quote, "In Detroit, the Turners have lived on Yarrow Street for generations, and now their home is worth a mere tenth of its mortgage. Oh, and it's haunted. It's been that way for 50 years, since Cha-Cha, the oldest son of Francis and Viola Turner, was attacked by a haint one summer night. The Turner House tells the Turner clan's story as they tend to the elderly Viola and decide what to do with the family home." Unquote. I just love the word haint. I remember reading The Turner House when it came out, loving the book. I love a good generational Black family story, especially if there's a haint involved. So, again, the book came out it was very well received, very successful. At the time, I love this, BuzzFeed said Flournoy was, quote, "the perfect writer for the post-white male novelist moment." I'm not even sure what to do with that, but I just think that would be a great thing to put on my resume. The perfect writer for the post-white male novelist moment. So congratulations, Angela. So meanwhile, Angela is also writing journalism. She's writing essays and journalism. Her work is appearing in magazines like Harper's Bazaar, the New York Times Magazine, and a little publication called The New Yorker. So my girl is writing amazing fiction and on the side writing incredible essays and journalistic pieces. Now, it is not until just the end of last year, fall of 2025, when Angela's sophomore novel comes out called The Wilderness. It came out, like I said, in fall 2025, and let's just say the reception was equally swoon-worthy, okay? Publishers Weekly gave The Wilderness a starred review, and this is what they said. This is just a bit of it. They said, quote, "The stimulating sophomore effort from National Book Award finalist Flournoy follows 5 Black women over 2 decades of soul-searching and turmoil. Flournoy's pages radiate with intelligence as her characters attempt to shape their lives on their own terms. It's a knockout," unquote. All right, so if it hasn't become clear already that Angela Flournoy is a talent, okay? She's a literary talent. But the question is, and I want to point this out to all of my aspiring writers or current writers that it took 10 years for the in between book 1 and book 2. Why did it take so long? This is what Angela told a journalist from Hammer and Hope magazine. She said, quote, "I had expectations of what my publishing life would be like. Then the pandemic happened, and I had a kid, and my mom died, and then my aunt died, and then my uncle died, and then I just felt like, oh, time is really strange," unquote. So what I take from this is that Angela had a vision for her writing life, as many of us do, but then life happens, and bad things happen, and busy things happen, and it doesn't always turn out the way you want. However, if you're a writer, you need all of your mental faculties present in order to write a good book. And obviously, Angela writes really good books. And when you're grieving, when you're distracted with motherhood, all of these things, they're going to slow the process down. But it doesn't mean that you can't still write. You might just have to take longer than you expected. And so I want people to be inspired, motivated, and comforted with the fact that amazing writers take their time with their work. They don't rush it. They allow themselves time to mourn, to mother, to do the things that they have to do so that they can then give their books the emotional intensity and energy that they require. So it took her 10 years, but hello, The Wilderness was a national bestseller. It was longlisted for the National Book Award, finalist for the Kirkus Prize, and longlisted for the National Book Critics Circle. So I'm glad Angela took her time, and I'm sure she's glad because she wrote the book she wanted to write, and she knew she wanted to write this book for a long time. And just a reminder, Tsitsi Dangaremba, who we talked about in a previous episode, it's quality over quantity. She's written 3 incredible novels that have been award-winning, that are on lists of the top 100 books of the world, okay? And it's 3 books, not 300. So I just, again, want everybody to remind themselves of that. One other example, Karen Desai, whose book also just came out in the fall of 2025, The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny. She won the Booker Prize in 2006 with the Inheritance of Loss. And then it took her 20 years to write her next book, The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny, which was shortlisted for the Booker Prize. So it's like these amazing writers, they take their time with their work, okay? So don't think because capitalism would suggest everything has to be done quickly, or that if you don't write your first book before you turn 35, somehow you're washed up or it's not going to happen. I think it's preferable to take your time and write the book you want to write than to feel that the time is telling you that if it's not quick, it's not worthy. Don't do that. So what is Angela working on now? She's working on a memoir, actually. So that's exciting. She said she's working on a memoir about motherhood, grief, and the places that made her who she is. I am very much looking forward to that. I love a memoir by a writer, and she's such a beautiful writer at that. I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful story. I always want to share, you guys, I want to share some literary lessons that you can take with you into your writing life. Obviously, take your time. That's one lesson. But 2 other lessons that I have extracted from my research from Angela, listening to her and different podcast episodes. One thing I heard her say that I think is really key is, here we go, the most important source for writing instruction, reading. Okay, this is not new, but I just thought it was really important hearing her say that when she's stuck with something on the page, she's working on a novel and she's stuck, trying to get something down. She gave an example of how to really incorporate a lot of time passing fluidly. And she was like, well, who does that really well? She picks out some books that she knows the authors did that well, rereads them, if not the whole book, the sections, to remind herself how it's done. And then she goes and tries again. So that is the only instruction you need, really. I mean, sure, go get your MFA or whatever, take classes, but use the books that do the things that you want to do as your teachers. Okay. And number two, that goes along with that, is you need writer friends. Now, I run a community for writers, so I know this to be true. But in the practical everyday life of a writer who, runs up against a problem, a challenge, and they need help, like Angela said, she would reach out to her friends and say, hey, what books do this really well? Which books pass time really well? And they will be able to dig into their own knowledge bank of different books. Whereas your like normal friends, maybe they don't read the same way writers do. They might not even pay attention to POV or certain techniques on the page. So even though they might mean well, they're not going to still have the depth of knowledge and understanding of what a writer needs when they say, hey, give me some book examples of people who do this, writers who do this really well. So have your writer friends, have your writer community, and you don't have to be like, these don't have to be your besties. They just have to be your writing besties. You call them writing besties. Like, you need those people in your life. Okay, so those are your suggestions. Those are your literary lessons that you can take from a multi-award winning best-selling author, Angela Flournoy. So if you love books about Black families or Black friend groups, then try Angela's books, The Turner House or The Wilderness. I will, of course, leave links to both in the descriptions, which I think I already said. Before I let you go, I want to have an honorary mention of another Black writer born in February that we did not talk about, and that is Bob Marley. Yes, Bob Marley's birthday was February 6th. And even though most people think of Bob Marley as a reggae artist, as a singer, I mean, many people would argue that songwriters are writers as well. They're telling stories, they're crafting poetry with their as for their lyrics. And the poet laureate of Jamaica, none other than the great author, scholar, and poet himself, Kwame Dawes, he actually wrote an entire book about Bob Marley's lyrics. It's called Bob Marley Lyrical Genius. And the book literally is examining Bob Marley's lyrics as political poetry. So if the poet laureate of Jamaica is like, Bob Marley is worthy of an entire book to look at his lyrics as poetry, then I'm going to say he's a poet, which makes him a writer, which means he deserves a spot on our list of February Black writers born in February. Great Black writers born in February. So Bob Marley was born February 6th, 1945, and he died May 11th, 1981. Maybe you want to put on some Bob Marley music in honor of his birthday, this political poet. All right, there you go. That's today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you feel inspired and more informed about amazing Black writers born in February. I will be back tomorrow with another story about another amazing Black writer born in February, of course. See ya.